£33,000 is a lot of money. In fact, it's around £2,000 over the average wage in the UK. In this video, I'm going to break down the easiest way to make £33,000. Buy a burner phone and start selling gear. I'm only messing. It's based around a LISA, which stands for a Lifetime Individual Savings Account, which is a product on offer in the UK to help people save money. Hello people, I'm Jim. Welcome to the channel. I'm a part-time property investor who's trying to document my journey to financial freedom from my full-time job in the oil and gas industry. I'll break down everything to do with property investing and investing in general, and how to get a grip on your personal finances. First off, let me explain what an ISA is. It's a tax-free account where you can hold cash or stocks and shares within it. So this means for the whole lifetime of the ISA, any growth you would get would be 100% tax-free. Meaning HMRC can get in the bin and not get their hands on your lovely AMC stocks. Sadly for me, my two AMC stocks are in a normal investment account. So when it goes to the moon, Big Rishi will be eyeing up all them gains. That is assuming, of course, I paper hands it.
Did I just paper hand out of the red market because, well, things went down?
Obviously, this is a massive advantage for whenever you want to hold your investments. But you can't just put as much money as you want into an ISA. It's capped at £20,000 a year. Normally, there are two main types of ISAs, a cash and a stocks and shares ISA. A cash ISA is just where you hold your cash in the account and gain an interest rate on the money in there. At the moment, it's around 0.54%, all the way up to the Disney height of 1.21%.
Oh, really? Really? You know?
Whereas the stocks and shares is an account where you can invest into different companies and funds. And like we stated earlier, it's 100% tax-free for the whole duration of the ISA, which is just whenever you want to take the money out. Now, magically, lifetime ISAs can be either cash or stocks and shares ISAs. But the quality thing about it is, whatever you put in, you get a free 25% from the UK government.
The obsession with spending money, but I have a healthy obsession with making it, so it's all good.
Now this is capped at £4,000 a year, meaning if you max it out, you'll get £1,000 all for free from the government. This would also mean you have £16,000 of the rest of your ISA allowance left, which is capped at £20,000 per year. Now I bet you're sitting there thinking,
Jim, you said you get 33,000 for free, not 1,000. What are you talking about?
well, like anything in life, the devil's in the detail. So we're going to get really detailed now, and we're going to break down how you can get all of that moolah. So there are two main use cases for the ISA: to purchase your first home or to save for retirement. Now, if you manage to get Help to Buy before they shut, this won't bother you. But if you missed out on this, this is your only really option. There are a few details about buying your first home you need to know about. First up, the house needs to be less than £450,000, which unless you have Jeff Bezos bankrolling your first house, I don't think you're going to have an issue with this.
I would love for it to be after I'm dead.
You also need to have had the ISA open for at least 12 months, so it might involve some forward planning, as you will need to know beforehand when you were thinking buying your property, which is also something worth doing as you want to get as much free money as possible, so the earlier you start the better. Also, you need to use a conveyancer or solicitor to act for you during the purchase, and the ISA provider will pay the funds directly to them. To be fair, I haven't really heard of people doing a property purchase without these involved, but it must happen. The final point is you need to make sure you're purchasing it with a mortgage. So there's a couple of different hoops to jump through, but there's nothing really here that is a showstopper. It's a really good option for first time buyers, as it gives you the potential to get an extra couple of grand, which might pay for your solicitor's fees or your moving costs. And unlike the Help to Buy, you can actually put more in, as that was capped at £200 a month, with an initial starting pot of £1,200. So if you're saving monthly, then you might actually be able to get some more free money. Now the big boy is saving for retirement. So you can only set up a LISA if you're between the ages of 18 and 39. So if you're the big 40,
I like it!
No free money for the over 40s. Not only this, but once you've set it up, you can pay into it every single year up until the age of 50. So this means if you are a financially savvy little individual and set up your LISA at the age of 18 and max it out every single year up until you're 50, you will get £33,000 from the UK government, all for free.
When it comes to legalized bank robbing, I'm the best.
Over the course of the ISA, you will have invested £132,000 and will have earned £1,000 for free every single year. So if you could do that and get a free £33,000, you are officially a hustler, so well done. Now, it's not all rainbows and free money. If you're saving for retirement and not for your first house, then the only time you can access this money is when you're at the age of 60 or over. Or in a worst case situation, if you're terminally ill with less than 12 months to live, you can access it. So it's not like you can take the money out every single month when it hits your account. You need to be in this for the long term, but I'll speak more around that shortly.
Yeah, well, I'm investing. I'm like Warren Buffett.
Now, if you take it out for any other reason apart from the one spoken about, then you'll have to pay back 25%, which sounds like the same as you get, but it's not. For example, if you put in £800 and you get 25%, you would get £200, totaling £1,000. But if you needed to withdraw that and give back 25%, you would pay back £250. So bear that in mind. Now, you get to do one of my favourite things in the world. You can become an index fund bro. Like we stated earlier, you could have this money saved in a cash ISA. In my opinion, it's pointless, as the interest rate is going to struggle to keep up with inflation, and you want to try and make this money grow as much as possible, given the fact everything within it is 100% tax free. So you could pick a broad index fund and invest into that, or you could pick individual stocks. Obviously, this is more risky as your money is tied to one company, but it's different strokes for different folks.
You know what we say at DDGG Global? Stocks only go up.
Now for the big questions. Should I set one up? Well, like so much stuff in life, this is ultimately depends on your situation. Of course, anything I say in this video is not financial advice. You need to do your own research on what's best for you. But the first place I think most people need to look is at their pension situation. Given the lifetime ISA will be a long-term investment, your pension is one of the only other investments in your life which will mirror it. So you need to see which one is more cost effective to invest into. What this means is that your employer might match your pension contributions, for example. And depending on how much money you earn, it might be more tax efficient to up your pension contributions instead of paying into a ISA. If you're a high rate taxpayer, it could be worth it, as you'll get relief for 40%, as your pension contributions will come out before you get taxed. So you get 40% back, which is higher than the extra 25% you would get from the government. Whereas if you're a lower rate taxpayer, then it'd be worth putting the money into a ISA, as you get more from the government with the 25% instead of the 20% relief from your tax. It's worth considering that with the ISA you get to access it at 60, which is not the case for all pensions. And also, all of the money you make in your ISA is 100% tax free forever, which isn't true for pensions. I think if you take a 25% lump sum, that is tax free. So it might be worth investing into the ISA, as you might be able to get access to your pension until you're a bit older. Again, none of this is financial advice, but I'll break down what I've been doing over the last few months. I used a website called Listen to the Taxman to see my current tax situation. Recently, I was lucky in work where I went up a grade, so I earned more money.
I'm going to talk about money because we are the business network and the business of the UFC and all that
I'll take
sort of
over
stuff.
from here, Nate. You can bounce.
And I was hovering around just the mark for the higher rate taxpayers. So I worked out how much money I needed to up my pension contributions to get under this threshold. Previously, I was around about 8%, and I jumped up to 12% with a long-term view of getting it to 15%. And my company is contributing a decent 10%. So once I had sorted this out and worked out how much money I needed to save each month to reach the 4,000 limit for the year, which is £333 a month, and I'm in a lucky position where I can max it out every single year. I use the Hargreaves Lansdowne platform, which I'd recommend as it's really simple to set up and you can set up a monthly direct debit to pay into your ISA. Being an index fund bro, I invest into two funds, a Vanguard US 500 stock index and an iShares Pacific EX Japan equities index. This is a super easy way to invest, and given the fact I'm in this for the super long term, I want something that's easy to do over the next 30 years, and in my opinion, this is it. Now this feeds into the whole point around the ISA. You need to be in it for the long term. Given the fact you cannot access it until the age of 60, it could be a 30 plus year investment account. So you need to make sure you keep this money in the account for the super long term. As we stated earlier, you will get penalised for taking money out. Now personally, I think this is a big issue with people my age. Research by Profile Pensions stated 23% of all millennials were not sure if they were on target for retirement savings. Ultimately, I think we're the only ones who have personal responsibility for our finances. So having a long-term investment plan, in my opinion, is the best way to do this. Now there is a balance between enjoying your life and saving for the future. I'm sure we've all met people in our lives who swing too much one way. Some people treat money as a race to zero and would spend all the money they have. The amount would not matter, they have a proclivity to spending it. Whereas there are some people who just do not spend any money on anything, which is equally as bad in my opinion. In my opinion, an honest conversation needs to be had and agreeing things which you want to spend money on. For me, it's skiing holidays. I love going on them and would not miss the opportunity to go skiing while I'm young. Outside of this, I spend all of my money on saving for the future. Personally, this is a balance which worked well for me, but saving for your future always needs to be factored into the conversation. If you start investing into a ISA at 18, you could get £33,000 for free. Now this is a stretch for a lot of people, but if you could save what you can each year, if you put 20 quid away a week and over the year that is £1,000, with an extra £250 from the government, this is a really good starting point. It's about creating a system which is going to work for you over the long term, which will give you more time in the market, which leads to the best results for your investments. So if you can stick at it for a good amount of time, you can be in a really powerful position by the time you're 60. I think it's really important to think about this stuff early and do your own research. I'll leave some resources in the description of articles and the government website, as well as the platform I use for you to check out. If you could do me a favour and hit the big red fella below and subscribe to the channel, it would help me out massively. And just to the right of that is the bell icon. So if you could tap that for me and then you'll be kept up to date to when I post, that would be absolutely mega. And if you want to know more about why you should invest right now, then please check out my video on the screen I made about it. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Cheers guys.